What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another War Thunder video. Today we're taking out the British Spitfire Mk.XIVe. It's been some time since I've taken out a Spitfire for the channel. It's been actually over a year since I've flown this particular Spitfire. I don't fly Britain very often, and with that new Hawker Hunter coming out, it's high time that I play the British a little bit and get that Hawker grinded. Actually, as I record this, I still haven't unlocked the Hunter, so I still got some work to do. I figured what better plane to use than one of the Spitfires. And I haven't flown the Spitfire in over a year, so I figured I'd give this plane a shot. And I wanted to see what its flight model was like. The Spitfire's gotten some flight model changes over the past couple of months. There had been numerous reports of wobbling and just some funky rudder action out of this plane. And as I understand it, most of that is gone now. We are about 6 minutes into this battle. We are on Sicily against the Germans. I see this 109. He's making himself very tempting. So I make my little dive on him. Then I take notice of what he's trying to do. He's luring me towards that other 109. These two are actually in a squad working together. They're probably even using voice comms. And well, I'm not going to take that bait. I'm not going to help them out. I'll walk right into their little trap. I've done that many times with Brian. He and I are no strangers to that little tactic. One plays bait, the other one comes in and kills the fish, as it were. With these two 109s behind me, I know I'd have to be very careful about what I do. The Griffin Spitfires are not turn fighters. One of the biggest misconceptions about the Spitfire is that they're all turn fighters, and they're not. The Griffin Spits are energy fighters, not turn fighters. I recently was in a battle where someone was asking the Spitfire why he was climbing. He should be low altitude turn fighting, and that's just not the way to go. So with energy fighter on my mind, I want to use this thing fast. And here we close in on this G2 Trop, take him out. He was getting very close to taking out our friendly Spitfire Mk.IX. Who, for some bizarre reason, is fixated on taking out the AI. This is another one of the reasons that I dislike Sicily. I know this is turning into an anti-Sicily month here with my channel, but it's just, things compile, and I hate seeing people waste their ammunition on the AI. They count as very little as far as RP or Silver Lions, and they contribute next to nothing as far as objectives. I don't think I've ever won a match because somebody took out the AI. It always comes down to taking out the player-controlled vehicles, the aircraft, or the computer-controlled vehicles, the tanks or the pillboxes that are on the ground. Right now, these 109s have the altitude advantage on us, and it's not that big of a deal because I'm patient right now. I'm not in a big hurry. There's no need to rush into anything stupid. And like I said earlier, these two 109s, they're working together as a team. They're in a squad together. So they're watching each other's backs. And right now I'm trying to get an opportunistic kill, and neither one is either coming for me or separating himself from the other. So it seems to me like a good opportunity for me to just climb away from them if necessary. And if one of them either comes towards me, I will dive and bait them down low. Or if they go towards one of my friends, I can just turn around and go give them a hand. And ideally, get them low. Because even though this is not a turn fighter, it's still a Spitfire, and it is still a good turn fighter. It's just not the best. It's not the strength of this particular Spitfire, the F Mk.XIVe. Whereas the LF Mk.IX, for example, is actually a very good turn fighter at low altitude, which is kind of weird because it's high octane fuel combined with that powerful engine. It gives it a very strong ability to climb, and so people tend to use it as a climber. But it's actually a very good low altitude turn fighter. Well, there for a while I thought I had successfully baited these two 109s over to me, but one of them has decided to separate himself off to my left And he's actually going on a little dive. Along with, there's a Focke-Wulf down there. The other 109 Slayer, he's decided to stay up here just a little bit. Got my two guys off to my right are coming in to give me a hand. I initially thought Slayer was going to join his teammate down below. But he's actually decided to turn around. He's going to make a run on me. I suspect that this is what's going to happen, so I'd go into a little bit of a dive to pick up additional speed. And then pull up, trying to go for a head-on. I'm just not able to get my nose on target. So he goes past me. I turn around, hoping to catch him in a turn. However, my turn to get on his 6 is way too late, and he's able to turn inside of me without any challenge, really. Well, he tries to bait me. His 109 wingman off to my back left has decided to join me. Slayer is trying to bait me into a little fight. He's flying relatively straight, which is what makes me zoom in and try to get a little shot on, but he goes evasive when I get a little bit closer. Right now he's just trying to bait me in, and it's a good tactic. Very good tactic. Fortunately enough for me, my teammates have arrived, and they're giving me a hand with this other 109. They've given him a little bit of an issue. They've been able to keep him off my tail. So now I'm able to pursue him just a little bit. Trying to light up my shot. I'm just not quite able to get guns on target. And he decides to drop down, get some speed. You see just how maneuverable that G6 is. Of course, I have to cut back on throttle a little bit, get a little shot there. I don't want to rip. One of the issues with Spitfire pilots is they tend to rip their wings because of either too fast, or they tend to pull too many G's when their wings. They tend to hit the elevator and go full elevator, and that's usually a bad thing. Instead of getting extreme overload. Thankfully, I got my GeForce skills upgraded on my pilot, so I'm not blacking out too bad just yet. Now you notice I got a lot of guys coming in. I'm very low. I'm not that concerned, to be honest with you. Oh, 109's coming head on. Gotta avoid that. If I took the 109 on, there's a very good chance that I would have struck my teammate who was behind him. I've actually done that in various head-ons. End up missing the enemy and end up hitting the friendly. that's not the way. That's not the way to win matches, I tell you. Focke-Wulf comes in. 109's still up there. This 109's coming in. I pitch up and over him, roll over top of him. Alright, set my stuff up, and oh my god, the G6 just took out that P-51. He's getting slow. He's at the top of his loop, and here we go. Combined with the teammate, get the kill assist. That's fine. Focke-Wulf is down low, trying to get some speed, I assume. I go underneath him. The LF Spitfire gets fireballed. G6 comes in for the head-on. I avoid his shot. Stay above the Focke-Wulf. Let him stay low. Focus on the G6. Put some shots in him. Critical damage him. Takes out his elevator. He's done. He's basically out of the fight at this point. Just a matter of... There we go. Spitfire takes on the Focke-Wulf 190 A5U2, which is not a smart move, especially when head-on. But he had been fireballed previously, so I think he was just trying to use whatever plane he had left to give me a hand and take out that Focke-Wulf. However, it didn't work out for him. The Focke-Wulf has put out his fire, so I know it's only a matter of time before he goes down. Control services have likely been damaged on his plane. He may even have lost some fuel. He's not going to make it back to base, so I'm just going to help him out. Finish him off, put him out of his misery, take off his right wing. And that's my third kill of the match. Now we're down to 2 versus 1. I have a Typhoon Mark 1B late, and there's a BF-109 on the other team. And I am low on ammo, I'm relatively low on fuel, and I'm not entirely sure where everyone is. I just assumed that this Typhoon was back at the base, rearming. But as it turns out, he's towards the enemy base, combating the 109. And in a few minutes, the 109 pilot will actually complain about the Typhoon pilot trying to ram him. I obviously couldn't see it. I don't know what the situation was with the Typhoon. But all that aside, I ended up making it back to base, rearming, refueling, and the 109 pilot and I end up having a little conversation. He wants to know where I am. I, of course, am a little leery about giving him my location, you know, on the runway, rearming. You don't usually want to tell someone that, because they'll come and shoot you down right on the runway. But this guy in the 109, the Fliegen-Koch, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, he actually promises not to shoot me on the runway. Instead, he's going to wait at 4 kilometers for me to let me take off. And that's awesome of him, because I did extend the same thing to him. I said, you know, if you wanted to go back to base and rearm and repair and all that sort of stuff, that's fine. I won't shoot you on the runway. And he says that he's already done that, and he's up at 4 kilometers. And while I'm climbing, we end up having a nice little conversation. And I have to give this guy credit. He's a great sport, far better than some of the other people that I've seen. In War Thunder, you tend to run into people of all sorts of backgrounds and personalities. Some people are real assholes. I mean, let's be honest. Some people are real assholes. But I have to give Fliegen-Koch credit. He let me get up to altitude and the whole works, and we had an excellent conversation about simulator battles and how he's looking forward to getting a new joystick for Sim on Black Friday. Hopefully he was able to find a good deal on a joystick. I know there can be some very expensive models out there. So we fast forward to the fight that we had, and I end up being way above him, because this thing just climbs so damn well. It's just like a little spaceship. You know, you're chatting with this guy, and just all of a sudden you realize you're above him by a kilometer. So I have a huge advantage on him, both from an altitude and an energy perspective. My tactic, or my plan really, was simply to force him down. Just force him down, because that's where I'm most comfortable, in a low altitude turn fight. Like I showed earlier, a low altitude turn fight is probably one of my better attributes as a pilot in War Thunder. Energy fighting, it's still a work in progress, and with this being a plane that I've not flown that much, I was a little nervous, and you can see here he caught me a little bit by surprise. I didn't expect him to come head on, and if I had used my landing flaps to pitch up and get additional lift, I risked ripping them off in that maneuver, and that probably would have screwed me up a little bit later in any kind of turn fight. So I just used regular raised flaps, and he was able to catch me just a little bit. Thankfully, this plane is fairly durable against those German. And here we go. Rip the flaps off anyway. This thing is so much faster than I expected. It's so efficient. That's one of the things that always surprises me whenever I take out a British airplane like a Spitfire. It's just its efficiency. Sometimes it takes a long time just to get the plane to slow down to land if you have to rearm and get additional fuel. It's just such an efficient fighter. So don't beat yourself up if you happen to rip off a flap or two. And speaking of ripping things off, I just tore off his elevator, and he's boned. This is done. Suffering any kind of elevator damage is some of the most frustrating critical damage you can get, because your plane just doesn't want to do anything. It doesn't want to lift. It just goes into a slow nosedive, and oftentimes there's just nothing you can do about it. Again, shout out to Fliegen-Koch for just a great sport. It was a pleasure running into you, man. And if you guys happen to run into this guy, say hi and wish him well. Great sport. I love seeing this. War Thunder could use more guys like this. It was a lot of fun to fly this. You know, like I said earlier in the video, I haven't flown the Spitfire very often. When I do, it's usually like a very early Spitfire, like a Mark 1 or Mark 2. The Mark 14E is a hell of a fighter. You have to remember to use it as an energy fighter. It is capable of turn fighting certain planes, actually most planes. And it's also a heck of a lines grinder. I hadn't expected this, but with 4 kills and 1 kill assist, I end up with over 100,000 in silver lines. That's an awfully big number, considering this is just a regular plane. It's not a premium. And there's no lines, bonuses, or anything like that. It's just a premium count with a regular plane. Anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Take care, guys.